Alive.
Oh, hello. I thought you'd do.
Shut you're the hell's in. Evening all and welcome to our and welcome to our stream of the series 1 to 4 series 1 to 4 in the discussion exist and it panel study in for on the next couple hours. I'm joined by my I'm joined by my panelists to maybe add a few bits and pieces that we failed to actually bring to attention in the regular or reviews, but to start things off, I'm joined by my co-host, Colleen Charlotte. How are you doing, Charlotte?
I'm good. I'm still laughing. We are professional folks. We do try.
Yeah.
We must meet professional standards in this establishment.
Oh, that's not bad. Taste it.
And he can return to the channel as the head of the on factory forum and all round good bowl. So that I could 20 if or it's good to have you back on the channel. How are you? How are you? Yeah.
I'm good, Daniel. Just enjoying the summer heat. It's good. Thanks for having me back. It's good to be back.
Yeah, and also making a return as the creator of the department and the Facebook group. She's also got her own server of forum, whatever the hell you want to guys, I'm not very good with them.
You're doing great.
So welcome back and how are you this evening?
Thanks, Daniel. It's always great to be back. I'm doing well. I'm glad it's Friday. It's just been a long week, so I'm just glad we're all here on Friday and we can now sort of just chill out and have some fun talking about Line of Duty.
Yeah. So I don't really know. So I don't really know how to kick off the conversation. Has anybody got or anything they want to ask to kick off the conversation?
Well, first of all, I would never have got into this show if it wasn't for your streams, Daniel and Charlotte. I think that was so. I thought, well, I'll check this out, and I did get hooked quite quickly, and it was, and I kind of tried to be good and just watch one episode before each stream. And then as it got more into series 2 was probably where I said, look, I've got to see the next episode. I've got to.
Yeah, I completely agree with Sadako. I credit both of you for definitely getting me into this show. I'm not sure why, because I do like shows like this, but I think with everything that we're all watching at different times, and then we go back and we're watching a lot of classic shows as well, it's hard to fit it in. But this is one show that I was really glad that I made some time to watch, because as Sadako said, you start watching it and then you're just hooked, and then you just like can't wait to see the next episode.
Okay, I've got a question then for both of you, and even Daniel, because I was the one who got Daniel into watching it originally, because he was fed up of me talking about it, I think, so much. He thought, I'll actually have to watch this thing.
Oh, Matthew's arrived.
The resident joke on in the chat, and yes, yes, I did. I do actually hope to get Matthew on the podcast, as I've actually said on Twitter. Also, Matthew kind of give me a shout out, and I finished or home or that I set for you. But yeah, Charlotte, continue with your point, and yes, Charlotte did actually get me into the show as well. She was constantly talking about it during the COVID so I eventually decided to get the first episode short after after every day she would mention how good the show. Also thought I thought I better give this a go. But Arionsha,
Yeah.
It could be for all of you. What is it then? What quality or what thing do you think that did get you? Because a lot of you were sort of taking a leap of faith almost to even watch a couple of episodes of this.
You're breaking up a little bit, Charlotte, but I heard your question. I think for me it was, I would say it's good because I think it shows that it's very, very. It seems like in this show it's very, very easy to become a bent copper, and it's like because like the law of the letter is the letter of the law is very, very, very restrictive, and it's like it's very easy to get drawn into something terrible, and then you can spiral from there into various other. You end up a bit deeper. So it's almost like to a degree it does speak to that fear of being surveyed. Like, it's that double whammy of you're a police officer and they're at liberty to criminalize you, to scrutinize you. And it's like you have to prove your innocence, and you're right. You feel in your heart you're right, and yet the law is against you in some ways.
Yeah, that's a good point. From my point of view, it's a show that just has all those elements that really make a good show. The writing is fantastic. It's not, I mean, we're still used to traditional police dramas that revolve around, you know, police solving crimes, but this goes much deeper, and it has a real dark element running through it. So it has that little extra something that if you were tired of like the usual sort of formulaic police drama, this one brought something new to the game. So that for me is I think what really grabbed me about it. And I mean, the casting is brilliant. The way that they put so much into one episode, and the way that it all sort of, you know, they make it look so seamless when we actually see the final product. I just really love that. And I feel like I get something back from my time that I've invested in it.
Yeah.
You know, it sort of rewards you for noticing all the different parts.
Yeah.
And and I think in terms of myself, to me, what attracted me to it was the character development, and because I for the start of the show, you get some really good character development right off the bat, and it's character especially, but in terms of the in terms of the series is directed as well. The direct of the series kind of do a good job behind the cameras. And it's basic and it's basic and it's basically it's basically a decent series to sit down and pay attention to, which is very young. Is something as of pretty good all it is. So yeah.
That's it. It's quality.
Yeah, and I think what. Oh, sorry, my mic's been a bit weird tonight, guys. I think what got me was you rarely see this sort of show where you've got so much character work and development and a really complex mystery. The sort of red herrings and the sort of misdirections. Like usually especially with a police show, it's either that or it's very character focused, and they don't tend to mix them. And I think with Line of Duty, they really do that mix really well. And I was thinking, like, for me, what I think gets me, and I honestly think it is the core characters, because you get really attached to them.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is you see sort of the beginning of this unit from series 1 with Steve obviously being the new kid and coming into it. And then you see the sort of him, Hastings and Flynn sort of become this Kate, sorry, sort of become this unit which is almost unbreakable and is sort of there throughout thick and thin for each other. So it's sort of that. I think that's what I love about it. You can really, because if you see any of the actors off screen, they come across as a family. Like Hastings is like the grumpy dad, and like Vicky and Martin are the kids.
Yeah,
and they
very
sort
much
of play jokes on each other. And then Adrian's like the father figure who's the responsible one.
Yeah.
They always come across like that off as themselves. So it's fun that in a different way you see that, obviously, because I'd say they're a lot more serious, the characters online, but you see that sort of vibe of family, I think, with them.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely comes out, you know, in the final product. You can see how well and they've gelled, not only as you know, as characters and actors portraying characters, but as you said, if they're that sort of tight behind the scenes and that, you know, comfortable with each other, that it's just like the perfect formula, really, you know. Because go ahead.
No, it's just to make a comparison to the current state of Doctor Who. I think with Doctor Who, we've actually got great camera work, great directing, great visuals, but nothing substantial. With Nine of Judy, we get that, and we get the substantial.
Yeah. That's the magic, you know, the magic bullet, really.
Yes.
It's the quality of this show is so incredible, and it's so refreshing, you know, in the current climate to see, you know. And I know it's been on for a very long time, but it's just excellent television, and it really sets the bar, I think. And I think it, you know, it should serve as an example, you know, of how to do it right.
Indeed.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, another thing about that you said, Wendell, about the USP of the show, the unique selling point, is like, I think each detective show needs that. In Cracker, the unique selling point was Robbie Coltrane himself being able to suss, you know, just get the guy to confess. That was the unique selling point. In this, it is the police investigating themselves. But it's also, in that way, I think it's asking a lot of questions about whether letter and the law and the spirit of the law end up in conflict. And I think that's what I take away from the show, is that it's about that conflict between letter and spirit of law.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and I think it talks to a lot, and I think this theme just gets more and more this idea of authority and power, and where's that actually in the police, and how does that actually affect the higher ups in the police with what they're willing to do to keep that, or to cover it up, or sort of justify their own actions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even emphasized in each episode with the interrogation. It's like, you know, you have to be an officer superior of rank to me to question me. And so when they want to bring in one of the big guys, like what was it? What was his name?
I know.
The really corrupt episode the really corrupt officer in series 2. Was it Dryden? Was it Dryden?
Yeah, I didn't. It's by Mark on her.
Yeah, because when they brought him in for questioning, like Adrian Dunbar was telling them, look, you've got to play nice with him. You've got to butter him up whilst you're questioning him. And it's like, we're not going to get anything out of him, are we? And it's just, you know, he's guilty, and yet he's going to get away with it. You know,
Detective Chief Constable Dryden. Yeah, he was really formidable character. Very, you know, very much a bully. You could see, you know, he bullied his way. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and you could really see with him, and I think same with Hilton. I think they've got this similar quality of they're so comfortable with the power they've got, and they sort of can't see not having that power.
Yeah, but in my opinion, Hilton's that extra a bit sort of so easy in my opinion. As the series sees, because we have just finished series 4, you begin to see how sort of so Amy and so easy the idea actually is as a character, and as you can tell, I think he's a bit of a prick, though, to be honest. it's the no judging by marriage. Yes.
The actor that played Hilton is one of my favorite actors. He's, you know, from when I see him in different things. I think he was also in The Thick of It
Yeah.
as well, wasn't he? He's an expert at playing very sort of edgy characters, and he's got a real piercing stare and a very sort of, he's got a lot of gravitas when he's on the screen. You know, you really like, you pay attention to what he says. And he's evil in a different way. Like Daniel was saying, he's more sleazy, more oily, you know, whereas the other guy, Dryden, was more, you know,
intense and
more
a bit more of
obvious.
He basically is Hilton's a bit more soul. I put in Ivan, and I do agree with what O's actually. I do actually agree with what O's putting charts on. Oh, and I do recommend that you check out this series, because I think you'll enjoy it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also the interesting edge is because they're dealing with coppers as their villains per se, you have to write them more complex. You can't just have your typical, well, he's just a bad un, or he's a murderer, all that sort of stuff. You know, there has to be a lot more motivation and reason, I would argue, with these sort of villains and people they're going up against in Line of Duty.
You know, when I was studying English literature in college, we did a comparison between Raymond Chandler's novels and the old Sherlock Holmes books, and the point was that in Sherlock Holmes, like I think the stories had to be set like a certain period of time in the past, so that you could only portray the police in an incompetent light, in the light of, we're looking back at how stupid they used to be when they had very limited methods, and obviously Sherlock was more today's kind of officer who was a bit more attentive. Whereas in Raymond Chandler's books, they were contemporary, and they could just say, there's a huge corruption ring, this, that, and the other, and they could actually really show the police in a negative light by then. And that was the 1930s, during the during the Prohibition era. And so, you know, obviously over time we've seen like more and more the portrayal of the police as, we're seeing that there is a corrupt side to it. And in Line of Duty, it's interesting that you actually see the corrupt networks and how those corrupt networks within the police are in conflict with each other. There's kind of there's no one conspiracy. It's all these colliding conspiracies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and also you've got, I think, on Line of Duty, you have that interesting that sometimes it is, like you said, the network, or it could just be like Denton comes to mind here, just circumstance, just creates almost some of the stuff she ends up doing.
Gonna get Matthew going now, talking about Denton.
I know.
For me, Denton is kind of is the demonstration of the point of the letter and spirit. It's like she felt like the letter of the law, which gave that pimp immunity, so they could still victimize that 15-year-old girl she really cared about. She was feeling like, it's like the law is preventing me from, the letter of the law is preventing me from enacting the spirit of the law, so I've got to bend the law in order to bring him to justice. And it goes wrong, obviously, because she ends up with some very dodgy people, and she ends up it just becomes worse than she predicted. But her objective was, I just want to do what's right, and unfortunately what's right means I have to break the law.
And I mean, you have somebody of the caliber of Keely Hawes, I mean, and you're just on a winner there. She's so amazing. She's such a brilliant actress, and she's like one of those actors that is a true chameleon. When she inhabits that role, she just fully inhabits that character. Just laughing at what Matthew put in the chat. She just totally inhabits that character, and it's so impressive to watch. It really is, from an acting point of view. Look up your bunnies, The bunny boilers on
with
the roof.
Denton also. With Denton, it's so interesting because she sort of.
He's going to get me kicked off the air one of these times. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but Daniel, that's the secret goal. Do you not know this?
I'm starting to figure it out.
If you're gonna go out laughing, man.
Yeah, but anyway, carry on, Charlotte.
I was gonna say Denton's interesting because she goes from like an ally to an enemy so many different times within like the few years she's in.
Yeah, and what I found so impressive with the way Keely Hawes played the character and presumably how the character was written was that, like you said, Charlotte, she's goes from sort of hero to villain very quickly, but it's frightening because the times when she sort of switches off and she just doesn't have any empathy for anybody, you know, she's just absolutely cold like a reptile. And then other times she comes across as extremely sympathetic and you just feel really, really sorry for her. And it's just so impressive how it was all played and written and directed. It's just, the whole package was brilliant.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
can I just interject there? Do you think maybe it's because I think what drives her at the beginning is empathy for that little girl.
Yeah,
but it's like I think what the ruthlessness, the lack of empathy, comes from the fact that she sees all the other officers as drones of a system that's broken.
Yes, she does.
That's how I kind of interpret it, and she sees.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say I think there's a bit of that just in her though, because remember, like with her neighbour, like yes, we've all had that annoying neighbour, and her response is to go to her house and smack her head on the work table repeatedly.
She's heading off this work a number of times, and that's it's as though she was very manic. She's she can be she can be killed outside or take certain
Oh yeah,
points throughout the series.
That's what I mean. She's like, you don't want to meet that side of her. You know, she's really terrifying when she's in that sort of frame of mind, and it goes a little bit more than like I totally agree with what you said, Sadako, about the fact that it starts with her empathizing, you know, having empathy for this little girl, and yet you can see that she identifies with someone else damaging her because she behaves like a very damaged individual. Because she's obviously got a very dark streak running through her, you know, and yet there is a human being under there, and that's what Keely Hawes sort of brought out so well. You know, it just made her such a compelling character.
Yeah.
And who knows? I think the way this show goes, you never know if they haven't killed them off, then you never know who's going to turn up again, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say, I think then the theme of the villains actually is a good one we've started. So one of Daniel's favourite, Dot.
Yeah.
Dot, yeah.
Dot?
Yeah, he's actually cool. He's actually cool. A comp. He's actually cool. A comp. It's the character because in the very first was never very first series. You don't really get much further on his character in first man the first series its own series when February you get into see all the complexities of the character and the very first series he sort of leads into the back and almost and I think it was actually until a brittle I think it was actually done till a brittle by the writers and then Parkinson's an exceptional actor and he's actually he's actually probably one of the best parts of the show because he have some mesmerizing performances.
Yeah, it's like at the end of series 1, that's when you first get the hint that there's something dodgy about him. At first, he's portrayed as just in the shadow of Neil Morrissey's character, and it's like it's then it's when he meets when Anthony Gates has killed himself to bring that pimp into custody, and when Dot goes to meet him, you think Dot's going to enact revenge, but he does the opposite. He actually says, "I'll cut a deal with you," and that's when you realize there's something shifty, and maybe he has been the corrupt one all along.
Mm.
And it kind of gets worse.
Well, yeah, I agree with Daniel. I think they very deliberately made him seem almost unexceptional in that first series.
Yeah.
He was just sort of portrayed as one of the lads, almost the sort of gaggle that followed Gates around. And then from series 2 and then series 3 is when he's really like showing what type of character he is. And I think
would you say Maverick? His character?
Yeah.
I would say desperate, maybe. I love his sort of ending arc when he's just utterly, all his cards have fallen down, all the things he usually can rely on have just either betrayed him or have fallen away.
Yeah.
And I just think there's two performances I think are amazing, which is when he's in the interview room, when he does the exit, but I think another one is when he's in the warehouse with one of the SWAT officers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you really see like he's willing to do that, like hurt himself quite badly.
Mm-hmm.
To cover his own sort of back.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see how deep he is involved with things, because remember they showed all the burner phones that he had.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh yeah, that's when what's her name gets her freedom, doesn't it?
Denton, yeah,
and you can see him watching it on the news, and then all the phones. Yeah, that's a brilliant scene, Wendy.
Yeah. I'd forgotten about that scene till just now.
I do remember when we were discussing his escape. Like I think I was the one in the chat going, I kind of a little bit wanted him to escape because that was such an ingenious escape. I thought, he could get away.
He was a great character. I really would have been happy to see his character continue on, because he was great to watch. You know, he was that kind of an actor that, you know, again, could play both sides of the fence, where you didn't quite know which side of the fence he was on at any one moment.
And I suppose it's sort of I suppose that sort of or interesting, and I kind of hoped that he would probably have continued on, but optionally, as you know, he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of actually think that's what made them series worth a bit sort of foul. Because the series war isn't as strong as the first three series. It's a bit more sort of convoluted and a bit more of a soul or I don't know about you guys. I think
For me with series 4, I mean, I know I've always been grumpy, the grumpy one on series 4 in the chat. I think you say slow burner, but I think part of the problem is it forces a lot of incidents in episode 1 to happen, and I felt like that just felt forced. I didn't feel like it was true to the characters. It just felt like they wanted this to happen, and so it happened. And I think the series for me never quite recovered from that. I felt like as I watched the series as it went on, there was that business where Roz was trying to cover up the fact that a new set of remains had been found, and the newspaper wrapping on them was more recent. So it kind of meant that Mike wasn't involved in it, couldn't be, because he was in jail. And there was one of the officers on a team who felt that she was trying to suppress that. And I thought he should have been the whistleblower. It shouldn't have been that weirdo Tim. And I don't know what they were doing with Tim's character. They just seemed to be portrayed him as just this strange weirdo. At first, I thought he was noble. He was the noble one speaking out about the corruption. And then they just kind of tried to imply he was Balaclava Man and that he was also stalking Hannah. It was just like, what do they do? And then, of course, he tries to dismember Roz. I thought, what are they doing with this character? This is just... No, that's just...
do it's his character, and his character is sort of written, like not bad, but a bit more convoluted than the rest of the characters, and I don't actually think that they had a kill. I don't actually think they had a kill. Your sort of avenue for that character, and it did sort of drag the series down a bit.
In a show like Nine Judy, you really notice that when the characters are really keenly observed, when they get it slightly wrong, you notice it stands out. Sorry, you were going to say one?
No, that's okay. What I was just thinking too was the thing I did like about season 4 was the intensity of what happens to Steve, and that slimy lawyer, Michael Farmer, I think the character's name was, or Michael.
Jimmy. Jimmy. Remember that's who the lawyer was, because you get the name open up on owning several episodes. Armor is a poor sort of teenage boy that was getting that was getting
and that was
named.
Yeah, that was pretty dark as well, the way that all played out. But I found that was probably my biggest, I thought was probably the most well done part of it for me was the situation with Steve, and then what happens after, and that confrontation he has with that lawyer who he knows is the one who threw him over the, who threw him. I think it was the lawyer, wasn't it? He arranged it, yeah. Sorry, it's been a while
Jimmy who panicked. I know it was Jimmy who panicked and basically rang the network of the Balaclava sort of the thugs to say basically, I need to fix the problem.
The way that all played out was pretty intense. But I think what I liked actually was the fact that they weren't afraid to, take their lead character essentially and nearly kill him, nearly, you know, bring him to a point where, you know, he does almost die. And I think the show hints that it's obviously, well, we've already seen it's not afraid of killing off quite main characters. So I think that keeps you on your toes as well. And I think that keeps the excitement of the show there, because you never really know, you know, if a character is going to survive until the next series. I mean, assuming you haven't looked too far ahead or, you know, that kind of a thing, it keeps you in good suspense, I think.
Yeah. I have to concur there. After the episode with Denton, like the end where Dot shoots Denton, I remember I was like shocked. I was like,
that was a spine tingling moment, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's pretty good.
It's partly because I feel like Dot didn't want to do it, but like he felt like she kind of pushed his buttons to the point he was under instruction, he had to do it, and that was the kind of that gave that other element.
Well, she basically challenged him and was like, "You've never had to do the dirty work. You've just been the guy organizing all this stuff, so you're gonna have to shoot me." And I think just back to what Wendy was saying.
Yeah.
What I love about the Steve stuff in series 4 is it wasn't just like, oh, one episode he got attacked and then he's fine. You could tell this is going to have repercussions. This is going to be something that actually affects Steve a lot. And I said to Daniel, like the scene where I was already impressed with Martin up till the series with the accident. But the scene that really got me and made me just think, God, this guy, whatever he's in now, I'm going to watch it, is basically when he broke down in his house in front of Kate.
Yeah.
Charlie, cut out there. We heard you up until you talked about the scene in his house. We got that. Charlotte?
Oh, I stopped then. I stopped talking. I didn't cut off.
Oh, okay, fair enough. That the other moment I think for me was when he's just in the bed and like he's like, "Can you identify the guy who attacked you?" And he says, "Look, I'm not sure. My memory, I'm confusing previous cases and attacks I've had." So he's like, that was the point of the thing. It was like, I can't, I'm not as sharp as I was because that's the damage I've suffered. It's like that was poignant for me.
Yeah, and it shows too. I mean, Hastings' reaction was like a father.
Yeah, it was.
With his son.
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
Yeah,
you could see he was shaken. Yeah, he was shaken.
Has anyone seen Martin Compston in anything else, by the way?
I watched him in one series after I'd seen him in Line of Duty.
I've actually seen him in a 3-part series called Unpro. As a true story on a Scottish serial killer. Also, if you guys haven't checked that out, he actually is the role of a very famous Scottish serial killer. Also,
I could see him playing a role like that, yeah.
So if you get the opportunity, check that out, and it showcases off his ranges and activism. Well, so check that out.
Because I saw him in something. Oh, was it called now? Traces. I can't. Maybe I've got the title slightly wrong. And once again, he was playing a very different character. He was almost playing this sort of pitiful, sort of nice guy, which is the exact opposite of Steve.
I saw him in his very first role in a film by Ken Loach called Sweet 16, where he plays this little chav in Scotland, and he's like, but he's quite a noble chav. He's like, he's doing some drug deals, but he's trying to pay for his recovering mother to get this caravan where she can be away from everything, and he gets really in deep with it, and it's called Sweet 16 because he's approaching his 16th birthday, and that's when it all really goes wrong for him. And it was like, where have I seen this guy before? And because he was so young then, and he's like much older, and that was 2002. He would have been probably 16 then. And it's like I've seen him now. I was like, oh, that's where he's from. It was from that film.
Yeah.
That's a really good. Sorry.
Yeah, that sounds really good. That sounds quite a powerful one. And he you can see, I mean, even as you said, Sadako, he obviously could handle those types of roles from a very young age, and it goes to show what a fantastic actor he really is.
Yeah.
I know he's been in Still Game as well. He was in a single episode of Still Game.
It was on series. It was on series 8. It was a short cameo in its own about it's only about a minute. That's in, but it was actually fan of that set that set.
Oh, that's cool.
So the majority of Scots enjoy Still Game, and I can testify that has been on the panel.
Yeah, and if you've seen Martin on an interview, he's a very proud Scot as well. He loves being Scottish, so it makes sense.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, he doesn't disguise it in Sweet 16. He's like the whole film is like. I remember like some American reviewers reviewing it. It's like, look, I need to turn the subtitles on this because it's so streetwise. It's so of the lingo of the streets kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can remember when I first started watching Line of Duty. I had no idea he was Scottish, so I watched Line of Duty and I was like, "Oh, fuck me, Ben."
It's like watching David Tennant in Doctor Who. You just would have no idea. He was so, he was
and then
so
when
good
I saw him in an interview, I was like, how have you disguised like really harsh Scottish accent as well, not just like a soft Scot?
Yeah, real talent.
So what do we think are our favourite moments for Kate then? As we've gone through some of Steve's moments we liked and we really scenes and the like.
Ooh.
Contradicting what I said before, when she went after Dot, that's got to be a big moment, doesn't it? With a gun, and when she got that perfect shot in.
Yeah.
But also, and she was kind of for them. Eve after the after Eve sort of a trauma basic killism. I was up until that point, up until that point, I said previous to that is she's actually a selfish sort of bitchy character, basically, and she was actually up until that point as well, because as I thought up until then, she was also high in my and she is this bad as the character of in the program. I don't know if any you guys or any of those vibes for my character?
I kind of, well, the thing for me is for the first series, I did not like Kate and Steve because they were the I cared about Anthony. I felt these were petty, vindictive, just they just wouldn't let it go, and I just thought, like, can you get rid of them? And it's over the course of the series I kind of started to start to see the other sides of them. They're not all business, and and I think that was the turning point when she had that affair and she got thrown out of her house over it because her husband obviously isn't. Sorry.
That scene in particular, that sort of storyline, I don't know, that just seemed a little bit forced to me to try to unpin her character a little bit. I've had a sort of love-hate relationship with Kate's character. The actress that portrays her is absolutely brilliant. They're all great, but Kate is she's quite an enigma, really, because I haven't quite made up my mind fully if I like her character as much as I like some of the other characters. But that's down to the ability of the actress to, give that character a real, she has a bit of darkness about her, Kate, and she has a bit of mystery about her. So that whole storyline about, the affair and everything kind of takes that sort of good girl image away from her a bit and sort of starts to sort of show that she isn't as upstanding as she makes herself out to be, So I thought that, was an interesting way of changing her character's appearance. But I think
it gave her more of a backstory almost, because she was one of the few characters that you didn't really get any hints of a personal life or anything to do with what she was outside work.
No, I'm not sure that the storyline that they chose to do that with really worked for me, but I think it was important, as you said, Charlotte, to give her a bit of a backstory.
Was there a hint? Was there a hint in series 1? Because we never quite found out, but it did seem like she got involved in AC12 because she had something against Gates. We never quite found out what, but it's like she felt there was something nasty about him or something. She was bitter at him for some reason.
Because I don't know if in the first show you saw the in the first show you saw the first series as I was going through. Well, actually, it kind of got in impression that the host who had in the or something, because there was something, because there was something I felt between those two characters. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult to explain. I don't know if you guys felt the same.
I wasn't sure if I felt it was a fair, but I felt almost like he felt he'd screwed her over in terms of getting his position over her, and she felt maybe he looked down on her or treated her dismissively, maybe.
She annoyed me with that bit. Again, I
remember. I remember from when I watched series 1, my thoughts were she really didn't like the showboating aspect of Gates. That he sort of was there with his flashy car, with getting the best cases, sort of, because she had that whole storyline with the old bloke, and it did show that those sort of low level things just get brushed under the carpet. Whereas Gates, and he even said it to her, no, I get the sexy ones. And I always got the vibe that that's what she really hated almost. It was the fact that the people didn't matter in the cases. It was how good can you look solving them almost.
Yeah.
Yes. And that in those moments, I think she has a lot of, she stands for something really important there. And I think it's when she, as was just mentioned, she sort of drops into the pettiness that I start sort of cooling to her character again,
Yeah.
But I think now, I can't imagine that she could go undercover anymore, because there's no way that every single police officer in that entire force would not know what she looks like.
Yeah, she's did any under other jobs at this point, and I
They
don't
need to make a
think,
change.
and I don't think that it would make sense, because I think it was a date that actually he said Hastings, as soon as they get deployed, about often they become almost recognizable when and another officer has a cell phone. And then I say, and it's kind of true. So I don't think it would be too practical to have that character go out on any under other operations anymore. To be honest.
I did like the bit in, it was series 3, wasn't it, when she felt that AC-12, she actually went to AC-4 to say, I think AC-12 are corrupt.
Yeah,
and that was her master plan to weed out Dot, wasn't it? Am I right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no,
Well,
was
I
it not
think
against
she's-
Hastings? She was trying to see if Hastings was corrupt.
Yeah, but
Probably.
Yeah, I actually think you're right, Charlotte.
But she was investigating Oz, and in order to keep Oz on side, she to see and I say that AC-12 is corrupt. Is that
No, I think you're
kinda-
mixing stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was against Hastings, because remember, Hastings gave them a dodgy file, and I can't remember which series it was.
Was that the one
what's her name, the loyal woman?
Was that the one where it was Danny had shot that member of
Yes,
the
that series.
network, and the file was redacted. Like every single page of it was blanked out.
Yeah.
Because remember, the reason she went also to that other place was because he was a Mason, so she had to go to a female
Yeah.
to try and get any information, because
yeah,
the
I remember.
Masons don't allow females in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just been so many great seasons and plot lines and things, and it is easy to get them mixed, because the deeper you go into the series, it does start to sort of bleed together.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I'm definitely looking forward to season 5.
But you see, you see the whole sort of Savile, Jerry, I felt was a bit sort of Elkers, remember in series 3, you see that, he just full and stuff like that. They could have just, it could have just not kill Woody to the in my opinion, because we already knew as you already knew what the investigation is, so you didn't have to kill Woody that each and the program, to be honest.
I think what they were going for was to suggest that there was such an overlap, like it was such an extensive ring that it was inevitably the two would overlap. But I know what you mean. Like when I saw it, I was like,
Yeah.
oh god, I did not need to see that reprobate again. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was a shame because the way they did handle that storyline, that's really the can't remember the character name, but I remember the actor because it was
Danny.
Jonas
Oh
Armstrong.
no,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't Danny. No, Danny was the one who was
No.
abused. Sorry.
Yeah, he was part of it though. It was all that series and the way they handled Danny and this other character. I can't think of his name, which is bad because I think they wrote him really well. And you sort of, it didn't feel like they were being over the top. They felt like they were just giving the right amount of
Yeah.
sort of credence and sensitivity to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
So
the
what
actor
about
that played
Hastings?
Danny as well.
Yeah, I think that's Jonas Armstrong. He was in Robin Hood, if people can remember that BBC series.
Yeah, I do remember that one.
Oh yeah, the character was Joe Nash, wasn't it? That was his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got the Wikipedia on my other page.
Yeah, but like I said, and that was a shame because that one did sort of set out with that storyline, and I really think that was one of the good sort of side stories they do in Line of Duty now and again, which is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about Hastings, as we've done Kate and Steve?
I can hear angels singing when I hear his name. I just love listening to him. I love everything he says. He's probably my favorite character.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's a steam
and you can kind of tell that the character's been on the force for a number of years, and you can kind of and you can kind of tell that he respects his rank in the force, and you can kind of tell that he kind of wants to stick to the rule book, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, you liked his letter to Delors.
Yes, and I'm just sort of like praying to all that is holy that he doesn't end up being the mysterious H. Please don't let him be H.
No,
that would ruin him.
It would. I think.
Oh no, that would actually ruin the fabric. It can not only the character, but would ruin the fabric of the show.
That would take it a little bit too dark. It would just be that one step too dark because he's such he's like, you know, the dad, the professor, the sort of the archetypal hero of the piece, you know, that is the one that everybody goes to, you know, and the one that keeps everybody together. So I think it's a little obvious anyway. But and I mean, H might turn out to be nothing to do with a surname. We don't know yet, you know. So but it was interesting that we had H and then we had Hilton. But it was kind of obvious too that Hilton really wasn't like top guy material. You could see he was sort of a middleman as well himself. So I'm pretty sure that, you know, the scene where they find Hilton, he's been done in because he's obviously surplus to requirements now and he has too much information on their network.
And he's too idiotic to be the top organ. Because it comes across as an idiot.
He does.
You can't keep it in his pants, basically. I think for me, my favorite thing about Hastings is it's the moment. It's like for most of the series, he is the look. We've got to abide by the rule. We've got to kind of look. It's our department on the line. They're trying to shut us down. You've got to tread carefully. You've got to, you know, kind of kiss ass to these people were interviewing, you know, the more senior officers. And then towards the end of the series, it's like, look, we're going to get shut down. And then he's like, look, we got an in. If we're going down, let's go down fighting. And that's the turnaround moment. That's the bit where you think, finally,
Yes.
he's got their back in this, you know, and, you know,
Yeah.
Yes, that was a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
I
just, like, you're just such a
Oh,
brilliant
am I
character. You're a little bit,
yeah.
You, Charlotte, you still there?
Yes, so I was interrupting you, so I was trying not to.
Oh no! All I was saying was just just the way his delivery. It's just that's the part of the episode you tend to remember the most. Like it just sticks in the mind. His scenes in the interview room are the ones that really, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
the other thing
I
about
love
the
the
interview
moment
scenes.
in the recent series with Roz, when for so much of the time she's sort of had him on the back foot, and then that moment when you can just get her, you can just sort of sense that satisfaction.
Oh no. Although she does kind of have a bit of a feminist moment, if you remember, because of that. Who actually brought it up in the chat during the review is for series 4 or feminist sort of and or video, she basically sort of used the as an excuse to be basically over a part in terms of
Wow.
Yeah, but I think.
I mean,
So you
well,
noted, okay.
It wasn't really murder. It was self-defense. Although Matthew will probably disagree with me. Charlotte, you could say. Oh, no.
Go ahead, Charlotte.
Mine's really quick. I saw that whole feminist moment as them almost taking the mick of like, this is the type of defense when a really desperate person comes out with this stuff.
Yeah.
You're breaking up a little bit, Charlotte. Sorry.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit.
So I always thought they were sort of having a bit of a laugh at the whole feminist sort of look at me, I'm a woman, you can't touch me sort of stuff she was trying to pull.
Perhaps. What I found with Roz's character, and again, very, very, very well played, I thought. I think Thandie Newton played Roz. She one of the things that spoiled for me her character, but only spoiled in the character sense, was that I really wanted her to be the good one. You know, I really wanted her I wanted to be able to really root for her throughout the series. But then as you see what she's willing to do, like sending that poor girl to jail for killing Tim, that was and that other lad as well that she was setting up. It was really, you know, hard to watch, because I thought, oh yeah, she's you know, she's gone too far now, you know.
And
her own husband.
And she's kind of got other and she's kind of got other assistant and she's kind of got other assistant Jodie on the because Jodie's and the basically so anything wasn't she comes around and Jesus Christ, what's my
sorry, I can't help but laugh. She said she kept a man's fingers in her pocket. That's perfectly normal behavior.
Oh,
yeah, she was definitely she'd gone round the bend by then.
Well, I mean, the thing with Jodie is, I mean, Jodie is, in terms of the letter of the law, spirit of the law, Jodie was the true believer, wasn't she? She was the one who believed in Roz, believed that what they were doing as police
She
was
annoyed
the
me though.
good. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about that in the chat. There was something about. I could see where you're coming from, Sadako, and I think you're absolutely right. I think she actually was like Roz's champion, and she deserved better than what she got.
Yeah.
You know, from having to, you know, for all the support she was giving Roz, and thinking that she was, you know, she'd been wronged and trying to help her. So I think her motives were pure enough, but her character was just a little bit too sort of
Sycophantic.
Yeah.
she kind of got on my nerves.
I mean, would you say she was definitely from privilege? Like she'd probably done university course. So she had this probably woolly view of the police. This kind of, well, not woolly.
Maybe, yeah. But
shiny view.
idealistic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it was
to
just
be fair, I was going to say, Roz got most of her team duped. It was only really the fella, I can't think of his name, who was really questioning Roz.
yeah, we were talking about him.
Guy.
Yeah, he was the only one who was like, hey, up a minute, do you not think she's getting a bit over the top now about trying to put it on Michael and him?
Yeah, but but as eventual, he's as eventual, he becomes a source information for or is he if you remember.
Yeah, he was the one who sussed the fact that the newspaper wrappings were past the date that Mike was in jail, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think he had he did have little doubts before that.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like I think Jodie was kind of protecting Roz because maybe it was a feminist thing. She felt like Roz is kind of a powerful woman and they're just looking to bring her down. So Jodie felt again that, you know, it was the whole.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was hard to watch because I mean, you really felt sorry for her husband because that guy looked like she had like driven him mad.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was like you know, it was like, you know, no matter what he did, she acted like she just had no respect for him at all and treated him that way, and you just never really got to see whether that was already in his personality or whether that he was driven to that by Roz's behavior. You know, it left me with that feeling that she'd driven him there.
But you could also make the argument that kind of touched on that kind of touched on them abuse sort of storyism. Was by the ending ever had a backbone, because she put through so much anguish.
Yeah.
I think, like, when I was watching them, like, at first, like, you think she's only being called to him because she's being procedural and she's having to hide this. You think, like, every time, like, when he's questioned about the affair, I was kind of willing, why doesn't she just confess what she did? Why don't she just say, look, it was self-defense. I got into this confrontation. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Why, you know, there wasn't the sense of, well, can't she just, you know, she felt like she couldn't trust him. And I felt, isn't she dying to confess this to someone? And yet you'd think he'd be the one she confesses to, but she doesn't. She just keeps.
She appears to really hate him. Yeah, she really appears to hate him. And I think it makes me wonder. I mean, I'd have to go back and rewatch the series again But I do wonder if the reason Roz's character, if you could argue, the reason she doesn't come clean in the very, very beginning and say, look, it was self-defense, is because she's had to fight for where she's gotten.
Yeah.
And she's terrified that because of her sex and her race even, is she going to be immediately just sidelined, and that's going to be it. She's going to have fought for all of that for nothing. So I guess you can see where initially she's so used to fighting, she's so battle weary that she doesn't know how to switch it off.
I feel like,
but I don't know, later on, you can just see she just really hates her husband. So it makes you wonder why.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like going further with what you say. I think it's like she's got this hard to get this position. It's all about image. And I feel like in a way her family's all about image. She wants to maintain this image of the idyllic family life, and it feels like it's all cosmetic. Like, but at the same time, it's like she can't tell him because she just feels like once it's out of the bag, it's like that it's over, that she's spoiled the idyllic.
I think she's so worried about keeping up the pretense that she's got everything under control that it consumes her, and she ceases to be human, really, which is sort of in keeping with where the character's actions take her.
It's a little bit like Gone Girl in that regard, almost.
And and I think that she's actually seen the success of officers that are around about the same sort of experience, be able to get the promotions. It is she kind of took a break to start off a ammo, and to start off a ammo, and I think she begins to realize that she's become sort of stagnated, and organization.
Well, I mean, she's kind of that thing with the slimy. What's the slimy officer? The slimy superior's name again? It feels like she's kind of
Houghton.
Yes, like she's had to kind of sleep with the enemy to get ahead, almost.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So there's that, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think that they do mention the whole taking some years out to raise the family. And I think that's, like we said, that's also talking to this idea of systems and power and how they can be used to put somebody down. And she almost feels at times like she's suffering for choosing something that shouldn't be something to be a setback.
Yeah.
But it has been a setback in her career.
Yeah.
I do like that. I mean, if we're going back to Hastings' great moments, it's like he does kind of nail it, but he does allow her to go out redeeming herself slightly, because he says, she just says, am I still an officer? And he allows her to say, well, I'm going to arrest you now. And it's like he's saying, I'm going to allow you to go out doing the noble thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, Hastings does see a very intelligent, capable officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's just been led down the wrong path, almost. Yeah. And I think that's one of the good things about Hastings. He's almost, I would argue, in the setup of the show and the team, he's like the moral core. He's sort of the old-fashioned, we're going to do it right, we're going to do it with some honour or with respect.
And see the see the scene, and see the scene, and he finds out that her arms been amputated. That is some amazing act in this world, or from the actresses. Well, no, I mean, everybody when the series sort of steps up their email host, but that but another scene that was amazing act, and then she got the reaction to her arm being amputated on because it's because it's a natural human as a natural human reaction.
And I think that's the tipping point where that's what chiefly motivates her to decide she really hates her husband, and she's gonna, because she blames him for it, because she said you didn't stop them, so I'm gonna you let it happen. And I think she even started hallucinating, and she thought she heard him, and she wasn't sure whether it was Tim, the ghost of Tim, or whether it was her husband saying you're deceitful bitch and this and that. And that's when she decides she's going to get revenge on him. She blames him, and she's going to punish him for it. And that's the turning point for when it's gone from barely tolerated marriage to I just hate you. And
yeah,
and the irony is
and
that,
it's very believable.
Yeah. I mean, she was the one that was hiding her injury for so long.
Yeah.
You know, that she caused her whole arm to become septic.
Yeah.
Roz, you know, so, and then she blamed her husband.
Yeah.
For her arm having to be amputated, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me almost of sort of when you get these characters like her, or even Gates in series 1, I can remember when the thugs come and kidnap him, and when he sees Jackie's body, you can see that's his major turning point for his character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it even comes to a point where he's got Steve like at his mercy. He's about to get killed. Then the thugs are about to get Steve, and he saves Steve.
Yeah. I have to say, I thought Steve was going to bite it then at the time, and I remember thinking, well, even though I've not quite warmed to his character, the way he was kind of saying, like, even when he was under captive, saying, "I'm arresting you for grievous bodily harm," I thought he's going to die, but that is a great way for him to go out with courage.
Yeah.
So I thought that was going to be it for his character, but then Gates saved him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the scene. It's such a brilliant way that they shoot it as well, because it's from, you don't see Gates's face, you just see Steve like in front, and then you don't know what Gates is about to do you? When you see Steve basically on the floor, like
that's it,
cradle in the hand, and you just think, oh God, like is he going to do it?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh my god. See the next stream. You have to get a few on at some point on as in cause some harm each, because he's coming away with some gems in the chat.
We'll have to make it a special character discussion of Denton.
Yeah.
Denton and Roz.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put an idea to you all that, in a way, do you feel like almost in the course of the show, does AC-12 do more good than harm? Because at first they seem to do more harm than good. They antagonize and they stress these corrupt coppers to do much more desperate things, and in a way makes them do worse things and makes the situation worse.
Yeah, I do kind of take the point, because there's been a few times that because there's been a few times they sort of try and take them all high ground and stuff like that. Well, it's kind of made to the situation about 10 times us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's well done, because it you're never quite sure, whether they're doing good or whether they're ultimately doing more harm than good. But the way that it's angled from the perspective of AC-12 is really well done, because you see them less as like the narc squad and more with some moral what's the word, mission. You know, you can see that they are doing good when it comes to really serious corruption. But as you say, there's a lot of casualties along the way when those particular people that they're hunting become more and more desperate, and even puts themselves in incredible danger. So yeah, it's interesting how it's played. And quite well done.
I've just watched the first episode of series 3, and I was thinking, did AC12 really have to go after this guy? It's like all he did was, one less criminal part of the,
Yeah, true. Yeah, I kind of see that.
Yeah, but I think that's what's interesting is, like you said, morally, you go, yeah, Danny had every right and probably should have shot that fella. But but the argument from AC12, and I think what the show is arguing a lot as well, is those little acts in themselves, you can go, okay, maybe there's a right, in a sense, to do the wrong thing, but then it's how it spirals out and how it affects lots of other things that you think, oh no, AC12's got a point almost to say, yeah, if you take it in isolation, maybe we're the bad guys, but in a bigger picture, we actually have to do these things.
And I think that the danger of something like AC12 is that it can mean, if they make it so difficult on officers to put away truly evil people because they're there to sort of scrutinize how they did it, is it really how do they know they're not doing more harm than good? Whereas in some instances they're definitely doing good because they are getting quite bad characters out of the police force. But then at other times, does it mean that cases that probably really should have been left alone, no matter how they got their conviction, because they really truly did good in the end, they got bad criminals out of the way and out of the system. It's an interesting discussion, really.
I remember saying, like, when Roz is commenting on AC12, it's like, look, even the filth, like the AC12 are the filth of the filth.
Yeah. But I think there's always that element of dark. Because I remember, obviously in the UK, this series, we'd never really had anything like this, and it really caught the imagination once it really started going. And I remember listening to an interview of somebody who obviously was like, my job wasn't exactly AC12, but it was sort of the real life almost counterpart in the actual police force. And he wrote a book about like what the fantasy of the show is like actually compared to real life. And in an interview, I remember listening to it, and he goes, actually, what they do get right in Line of Duty is that some of the best anti-corruption officers are like literally a couple of steps sort of behind being a criminal, almost. And you have to have that almost skating that line, the thinnest of line, to do that job. And he sort of said, I think the show gets that and shows it really well.
That's cool. That's high praise, certainly, from somebody who's been in that, been in that situation.
Yeah, and I can kind of see that side of it, though. So that's what makes it sort of cool. So that's what makes it sort of cool. Or in its writing.
You know what? I was just thinking about Gene Hunt, actually. Yeah, exactly. And that's a great example. I love Gene Hunt, by the way.
I knew you were actually going to come away with something like that. You always have a
Yeah, but here's the question: what would you not want to see, though? Hastings interrogate Gene Hunt.
Now that would actually be empowering.
Good Lord, yeah.
Just imagine that conversation.
Hello, son Tyler. How are you today? Oh, not good. Is it Gene
Yeah.
Hunt? Is he kicking in a nonce? Yes.
Oh, that's that's the Compton. Yeah, that's from the
Yes.
Compton one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, we just finished rewatching all of Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes within the last 12 months or so. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, love it. Love Gene Hunt's character.
That
Yeah.
third season really of Ashes to Ashes, it was really kind of quite trippy, and it was quite like it went some dark places, didn't it? It was like
Yeah, it definitely got a bit darker. As you said, a little bit trippier. Yeah, I liked both series, but they were both very much standalones as well.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I
I'm trying to
just
think, we've
gotta
gone
love
through
Gene
most-
Hunt.
Yeah. Oh, Gene Hunt. Like I said, that'd be funny. Hastings versus Gene Hunt.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. We've gone through most of the characters.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a bit messy to talk about the arcs or sort of main plot lines.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So here's a question then. What did you think of the whole hate reveal? Because that's obviously was a major thing in the last series you just watched. And the
Say
sort of
again, Charlie?
idea, what did you think of the idea of H and sort of that being the next big mystery that we're going to have going forward?
That will like it's intriguing, but I hope that I hope that it's it, I hope that it I hope that it's paid off in a satisfactory and a sort of satisfactory because there'll be no point if it's just a sort of if it's just a sort of if it's just a sort of throwaway but our our other man was
Yeah.
Needs to have a bit more impact.
Oh, definitely. If they're going to do it, you just have to hope that it's going to be done well and with a bit more meat on the bones than the Balaclava Man thing was. I just hope they don't spoil Hastings' character. And I know that the nature of this type of show and the way that this show is presented is all about, not knowing what's around the next corner and having some very big shocks and things like that. And that's what makes the show compelling to watch. But I do have to say I am biting my nails a little bit about Hastings. And I hope it's not that obvious where it's just like an H surname, that it has some other meaning and it's not quite so obvious.
I know what you mean when it's because there's a lot of uncertainty in the show, but like you want certain things in it to be certain. And if they just throw the dynamic of those three away, then that's that
that kind of needs to stay. For me, that would need to sort of stay. It's like, he's like Obi-Wan, you just, Alec Guinness, you couldn't, if they changed him, fundamentally, it wouldn't be the same. He's the one thing you can count on. Even though he's not perfect, which they've established, he has his flaws, like we all do. But he's still that central pin, and he's still he's just the sort of glue that holds everything together, and make it all worth fighting for them, because they have respect for him.
Old school man of principle.
Yeah. Which is nice to see.
Especially in a BBC programme.
Special. shall it's all right. Even though it's an ITV creation, BBC just have the rights to show it. So, technically, it's an ITV program. Sorry, BBC, but you don't really get the credit for that one. And to be honest,
You just had the foresight to give Jed a load of money to make this program.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope that the people that are making it now continue to be the ones making it in the future, because it's always a little bit sad if there's a huge regime change behind the scenes, because it's never the same. You know, it's not to say that they might not be able to, you know, inject some new ideas, but I just hope that that same, you know, level of great writing, great directing, great, you know, characters and acting stays throughout the rest of the series.
Apparently, he was in a few rumors of a series, having potential. Because there's always sort of rumors on about basically.
Oh, do you know, I saw something this week, actually. Might have even been earlier today. I stuck it in my Pocket app. There was a rumor. It was a picture of the cast, some of the main characters in the cast, talking about, you know, the potential for another, like a reunion series or another series.
Yeah.
What did I do with it?
The cast are always very, I would say, quite open and quite honest usually in interviews, that none of them have said we're never going to do it again.
Yeah.
But they've not said we're definitely going to do another series. That's the sort of way the cast handle it, because they always get asked.
Yeah.
Whether it's Martin, whether it's Vicky, whether it's Adrian, they will always get asked, are you going to do another series? So,
yeah, exactly. So this could be complete, you know, baiting, but it's an article from the Daily Record dated the 8th of June. And it says, the Line of Duty cast have reunited for a few drinks and sparked rumors of season 7. Martin Compston, who plays Steve Arnott, posted a snap of himself, his co-stars Vicky McClure, Adrian Dunbar, and also show creator Jed Mercurio enjoying a few refreshments al fresco. So in, you know, it's not, I haven't read the whole article through myself yet because I pinned it earlier today, but it's hard. It's fun to sort of imagine that they might do it, but I think I would rather know that the series completed in a really, really satisfactory way than just for them to continue to make it after they've kind of jumped the shark. I don't want them to jump the shark.
Yeah, I'm the
finish
same.
Well.
Charlotte, you're obviously the expert of the series. Do you carry or do you have a different opinion?
No, I think all series have a lifespan. Like all stories, all characters, you can't do forever. There needs to be a stopping point. And I would agree. I would rather them, if they wanted to do another series, do it because they've got a legit reason. They've got a story, or they've got a last bit of something they want to do with their characters.
Yeah.
And don't spoil it. You know, don't allow things that have never been forced into the show before to be forced in that are contrary to a natural progression of the story, shall we say.
Yeah, and I think also because it's usually so tight writing.
Yeah.
I think if you were to have a series where that would suddenly go because you've been forced, or they would have been, like I said, obviously hypothetical, they got forced to do another series, and it suffered in the writing and the tightness of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because we've all got shows that we all loved, and even in hindsight, we go, well, maybe it should have ended like a series earlier, or maybe they should have stopped at a certain point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when Tom Baker left.
I know. Yeah.
I knew
I'm starting to agree with you, Seiko.
I knew you were going to bring that up. There's almost perfect timing.
Yeah.
But there's sort of like special. I found the type of genre that is as well at some point as only you have to come to some sort of a conclusion.
I mean, so far, like I've not seen series 5. I'm told that's a really, really worth. Like that I'm told that someone told me like that's the best season they've done. So I've not seen it yet, but I mean, I always kind of look back and think, well, series 3, that finale. If the show had ended there, I would have been happy with that because that had a finality to it. I think,
Mm.
and I think that was so. Yeah, I hope like if it does end, it ends on like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say this now about spoilers. Series 5 is one of my favourite series out the whole lot.
Ask, that's because it's more focused on a certain actor. You give answers.
No.
Yes.
No, it's not. If that was true, it'd be series 6 would be my favourite.
Well, it is nice to see Vicky McClure teamed up back with a co-star from This Is England '86.
Yeah, Stephen Graham.
And he is, like I said, is it who else is it not Stephen Graham?
It's Stephen Graham, Charlotte.
I was going to say for teaming up, yeah, because he is definitely one of the highlights of series 5.
Cool.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember what he looks like. Or look at him.
Another obviously, he had a he had a sneak peek.
Oh yeah.
Another obviously, he had a sneak peek of the first episode of the series 5, and it's brilliant. So yeah, so I think you guys and myself and Charlotte are in for a treat when you start to other series and 5 because it does get a bit more together. I think and a bit more
I recently got it on DVD. It's still in the wrapper, so I'm looking forward to opening it. Series 5, I mean.
Oh, cool.
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 Yeah, so I think like another thing that I really appreciate is each series does do something different. Like they don't really rest on the laurels. They at least like with series 1, obviously you had Gates, which was sort of your stereotypical, I would argue, bent cop, and then Denton, who was just completely like out there.
Yeah.
And then you had the Danny series with the whole SWAT element of I can't remember what they were. Not SWAT, that's American.
Just armed police.
The armed police
Yeah.
idea, and that was a completely different setup. And then obviously we had the Roz and the more forensic and the sort of so I do appreciate that. And series 5, once again, it's a very different sort of rough setting for them to investigate.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I mean, like each season has its own unique selling point within a show with its.
Yeah. And what's really great about this show as well is the consistency of the absolutely amazing actors that they
Yeah.
keep getting into it, you know. And I'm looking at Stephen Graham online. I now recognize him. I hadn't connected the name with face in my mind, but as soon as I saw his face, I recognized him immediately, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing, you know, what his
Yeah.
character is and how it all plays out.
For anyone-
Even Gary Aim has a fantastic EV guys. So check it. So check out this of he's been in. He's an incredible actor, and he's always and he's always is in for aim to become the next Doctor as Elk as his name gets banned. He's about and a bit for a potential Doctor as well. So yeah.
For those who don't know, he's the lead skinhead in This Is England. He's the one who's like really rallies them to be a real kind of
Yeah, the angle, the angle is the offense. So he can, and if you haven't checked out that movie, and if you haven't checked out that movie, panel, I suggest you check it out because it's a pretty good movie, and everybody in the chat check out This Is
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've
Yeah,
heard of
he-
it.
Well, also he's Hollywood now because he was in The Gentleman. Was it? That's what that Scorsese film that was
Yeah.
on Netflix. He was in that. So he's well known, and that's the other thing that this series does seem to attract these sort of
Yeah.
big names.
Yeah,
good
I
acting.
knew him from he was in Peaky Blinders, 2 episodes of Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his filmography now.
I mean, This Is England's an
He's done quite a
interesting.
lot.
This Is England's an interesting one because he's with Vicky McClaw's in that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. There he is, Line of Duty. Yeah, he's got quite a lengthy filmography.
He's sort of a very talented working actor, I would argue. Sort of, he's been in
Yes.
so many things. You go, God, I know him, but I don't know from what.
Yes, yeah, you can see why, because just looking through him, and it's incredible how much work he's done, and I think he's also has producing credits as well, and it looks like producer 4 credits.
Yeah.
Oh, and another fun thing.
Soundtracks.
As I said,
Yeah.
this isn't, I think I can talk about some cast for Series 5. If anybody watched Doctor Who Flux, there was 2 Line of Duty people in that series. There was Dot, and the woman who played Ashore, the female alien villain, she's in Series 5 of Line of Duty. So you can see her actually as herself, actually given a good part to play.
Oh, good. Yeah, I didn't see Flux, but I look forward to seeing all the actors, that are going to be in it.
Yeah.
I
never seen the film Oxida Part 1 because somebody on the panel who showed the main name is threatened to if I tuned in to that series.
And this other person is still threatening to kill him because he's thinking of watching the Centenary special.
Yeah.
I'll just say I lasted 2 episodes of Flux, and that was it. I was like off.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying it's fun. If you are Doctor Who, you're actually going to see that actress in a good role.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. I just look forward to seeing the actors. That's going to be fun.
So I think we've pretty much talked about everything, even like hopes and what's coming up in Series 5.
So if you guys get any predictions before or but have you guys got any predictions for the series before before I give you the opportunity to shout out any channels? So have you got any predictions for series 5?
I don't know. I don't know. I have
Whatever
hope.
it-
But I don't have any predictions really.
I think it's going to be interesting. That's guaranteed.
Yes.
Hmm.
I mean, same here. And even although I do take the piss out of Cheryl, on every review, I am very grateful that she introduced me to the show. Like after constantly being at me to check it out. I do appreciate the suggestion, and you have contributed to the success of the channel. So I would just like to say thank you very much to you, Charlotte.
Thank
Because
you, Charlotte, because this has been these are great fun.
because this is behind the scenes of behind the scenes of kind of being a different meaningful and you've basically and you've basically been you're only behind the scenes and isn't our aunts and stuff. So thanks very much for everything you do for for the channel and for the rest of the community.
Yeah, raise a glass.
Yes, here.
Raise a glass to Queen Charlotte.
Yes.
Well,
Cheers, Queen Charlotte.
Well, I say now you're my adoptive annoying little brother, Daniel.
Oh, here we go again. Yeah.
No, but to be fair, I was quite nervous because I was like, God, if he hates this, I'm gonna feel so bad. But you didn't, so that was good.
Yes, as Matthew Pounder says, long may she reign. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Charlotte, how did you enjoy your Jubilee then?
Oh, it was fun. I like the music night. That was fun with the concert. So, Wendy, Ozzy, where can we find you coming up for your channels and plugs?
Still on Saturday evenings from about 8 p.m. Onwards. I'm on Let's Talk Geeky with PJ Maybe and Jim the Viking, and also some other excellent people like Sadako joins us sometimes, and Alex, also known as Mr. AWK. We have some great fun chats and a good time. And on Sundays, I'm co-hosting the B-Movie Cinema Show with Mr. Hyde, where we look at a few different types of films. We look at a lot of older movies, and we found some real gems from many years ago. So that's on Sundays at about I think we do those about 8:30 on Sunday evening. We premiere those, so that's been really fun. And I do drop in on other channels as well when I have had some very kind invites. So and yours as well, Daniel. So thank you very much for having me on.
It's been a pleasure as always. So that I here can you find you?
Well, I mainly run the Auton Factory forum, which is mainly an old school classic series forum. I'm not really doing anything on YouTube currently, but if you look back on Blue Bonnet's channel, I have done some pretty. We did some very, very good streams on the Doctor Who, the doctors and the writers of the show. And I say, look, you want to hear my take, watch them because and
yes, there's some great stuff on there.
Okay, so Sharon, okay, so Sharon, since you're my boss, whose channel you're appearing on this weekend before also your eyes and cancels, and cancels me a better, it shall have her in whose channel she's appearing.
Well, I couldn't make last night on Type 40 because I've got some stuff at work going on right now. But you usually catch me on Type 40 Live on Thursdays and on the podcasts because we're up to review the Jodie special soon. So at some point we'll be doing those.
Michael Jones.
Yes. It's therapeutic. I get all my feelings out. And then, on the TARDIS Zone soon, the watch-alongs, at least the new Who stuff, we should be starting them again. So we've got one Matt Smith episode left, where I'm probably going to be crying my eyes out for most of it. And then we're on to Capaldi. So you'll catch me there.
Yeah, and then terms of myself, I've recently been on the TARDIS Zone with for or as on a exclusive stream, and I know he popped into the chat earlier on, so thanks very much for having me on the stream I had for on, and he had a bit of fun backstage after it as well. It was all half basically, and also as well, as soon as my Matthew Pounder gets his Fast and Furious home he'll be a it'll be final on my channel, and you definitely can't back out because I've got very as I've got panel and this is to the so so when did you get your home and you are coming on, and I know what is best for you, and we'll schedule and we'll schedule a time for that discussion, and I hope to get Sean from the Hall Expo Icon for another so in stream so so there'll be so there will be and tomorrow so there will be so there'll be plenty more unique moments with on, and it's an honor to be able to do those streams with Sean. So shout out to the show on and his Ian Shaw. It'll be back with the normal rotation streams as well, and as soon as it can completed series 5 and 6 will run other panel like this is alter around everything off if you guys are up for it.
That sounds brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I look forward to it.
The last time I checked kept check on the soap operas of wrestling was 1999 when Triple H sabotaged one wrestling couple's wedding, and it's like it was I think he took was it Stephanie? He took her to this when she was unconscious. And he married her while she was unconscious, and like he was just really taunting his rival, going, "She said I do," just trying to run him off right.
Epic stuff, and Matthew says Matthew says for sure he'll say Hobbs on me on me. Yeah, definitely. Matthew. So be in touch for me, and you're ready to do the stream because I'm desperate to get you on here for a stream. It's overdue. It's overdue. And Charlotte, and Charlotte will be in the chat just going, what the hell's going on? Because I'll probably be in Stitch. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, no, we know what's going to happen in that stream. Half of it's going to be talk, half of it's going to be Daniel laughing.
Yeah.
So I might just need to be in the chat to like keep stuff going because Daniel's going to be like useless and not be able to do anything.
Who gave you the opportunity to come on to the channel?
If I can remember, it was basically I got given an ultimatum about coming onto the channel.
Yeah, it's all coming out now. So remember and hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And if you hate my good arts as well, like a few you do as well, I'm down the video because it all helps out the channel as well. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody in the chat. Thanks to my panelists for joining me for the hours. It was an awesome discussion, and we've had a bit of a laugh as well. And remember and hit the bell to stay notified for any upcoming channel content. And but if I don't see you during the week, and have a good one, and here is the channel, and here is the channel, and here is the channel trailer. Right, folks.
Good night,
Thanks,
everybody.
Daniel. Good night. Thanks, Charlotte.